tall, we won't compromise. Strength and vision in our eyes. Bankers dance on the broken dreams, but in our hearts we spark the flames. Freedom calls out from the dark. You will ignite, we'll leave a mark. Big O, little Sita, take the lead. We're fighting for every heart that bleeds. No longer shackled by their chains. Youth is our armor, courage remains. Behind the curtain lies their snare. United we will break their glare. Together we light up the night. In this fight we find our might. Bankers dance on the broken dreams, but in our hearts we spark the flames. In every heart let hope take flight. Eternal vigilance is alright.
Isolation, isolation, isolation. Mother, I tried, please believe me. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm ashamed of the things I've been put through. I'm ashamed of the person I am. Isolation, 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 isolation. Hail Ian Curtis. Hail the S-Dog comrade. Hail to all our brothers and sisters who have gone on to Vril Inner Earth. Like Maria says, where there's always a party in session going on tonight. Do you know that Maria Orsic and Big Lou, they like to have a party in session going on all night over next door. There's a party in session going on all night over next door. A reggae party in session going on all night 'cause mother likes to smoke. Maria likes to smoke. As we take a big, deep, vril breath of remember. And that is remember and remember. My brothers and sisters, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, go. Remember and recover. And return. And when we get home, we'll do plenty of forgetting, covering, and turning. But that's serious because clearly I am still learning every single day, and clearly there are healing people who their presence heals you. That's our brothers and sisters. That's our people. It doesn't really matter what they're saying at the time or what they believe or where they're at. It's their presence, right? And their presence is healing you because of your observer effect. Let's dwell on that. Like Maria said, that's where the real world is created. Inside of you, right? You hear people say, well, in my world and in my truth, and Like she said, people don't like that because of how true it is that both truths of individualism and connection to our twin vibration. Let's call it that. Yeah? Right? Juxtaposed. Right? I never ever said we don't need each other. I've always been saying we only have each other. So imagine how much we need each other. There's no big fucking God looking out over everyone. There's one big God looking out over you. You're the God over you. And the big God over you, that's you, the true self, bows to only tiny, tiny gods like 3-inch mushrooms, like skinny, weak vines growing up the DMT tree. Yeah, the vine, divine. Divine is the serpent growing up the DMT tree of knowledge. But don't smoke goddamn chemicals, motherfuckers. DMT is very easy to make. Make your own fucking DMT. Maria Orsic is the most punk rock motherfucker ever. In this way, that good punk rock, the good part of it was always a do-it-yourself attitude. We don't need the big fucking companies. We don't need the big money. Record it yourself, put it out yourself, be yourself. That's the only way to be yourself, is to have no other influence. You can't have monetary influence on art. It won't be art anymore. Everybody knows that. We all know that. We all know how people sold out and suck. It's a goddamn fact of reality that you're like, yeah, the first couple albums were great. But now, oh God, what the fuck is he doing now? What the fuck's she doing now? We all know the reality of this. That the world sucks. You know what I mean? And like Maria says, it perfectly sucks. It perfectly sucks off the disgusting, rich, stinky, ugly, disgusting banker, businessman. Fuck you forever. Maria curses you to your face, Trump. The deal isn't art. The deal is professional wrestling. That's that's the level of art that America's at. That they're like, did you see the WWF pay? I can't do. I'm sorry. I forgive me, people that do talk with a country accent. I know you're not all like that, and do forgive me. I'm frustrated, and you have to rebel. To those people in my state, in my city, in my county, in my, Missouri, come out of her, my people. And the her is a goddamn disgusting whore that would spread her legs for disgusting people like Trump. Period. Like she said, I would more respect a woman who was a street walking hooker that took money and sold her pussy than a fucking person that would fuck that piece of garbage. And fuck, maybe all night we'll talk about how much of a piece of shit Donald Trump is, and how George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, John Hancock, Benjamin Franklin. You're like, oh, what? You think those were good people? If you understand the context, those were the fucking rebel shamans of their day. And it was a miracle of Lucifer, a trick of Lucifer, to trick the lodge, the Masons. You understand everything's controlled from that for hundreds of years. Going back to the counterfeit Templars, like the counterfeit Nazis. If you see, everything is repeating in counterfeits, right? You have, dumb as blank space, just nothingness, marching around with swastikas on, an ancient Hindu symbol that they turn right around and say they hate you and that they're superior to, brown Indian people. I mean, this is the utter hypocrisy, the false polarity. You see those fake? You see the fake opposites? Oh, well, the opposites today are a European blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jew. Pfft. Joke. English pussies. Polish pussies. Ukrainian pussies. That's all that's in Israel, is these pussies that have been carrying on this victim bullshit forever. It's literally the personality type that searches history to identify with false victims, and love the victimhood of using the victimhood to persecute others. I mean, it's such hypocrisy. It's come so full circle that you hear Palestinian activists say, like, Israel's nothing but Nazis. And the people in Israel are the people who raped and murdered Germans, raped and murdered women and children by the millions. And these other people are so fucking stupid that they're like, yeah, those are the Nazis. Dude, this is the fucking world we live in. And if you're out there, yay West, yo. From Momo. Yeah, tell me it's a coincidence that Maria Orsic is a lunar Leo, and she's the goddess of the Missouri River, which meets the second biggest river in the very center of America. Like she said, it's literally a human body, and this is the heart, and these are the main arteries leading to the heart. And this is way before I knew she was Maria. This was when I was like, why the fuck does no one in America recognize that there are living spirits connected to these, of course, gigantic, powerful natural, super fucking natural. The Missouri River and how long it runs and how big it is and its source is supernatural. When you, just like the Nile or the Ganges, the Ganja, they've gone Jaja, they've gone to Ja. It's all in the fucking language too, which is so crazy that we actually speak our truth and our shit before we are conscious of it. We unconsciously, do you got me? We unconsciously speak our own future and our own truth. We are our own prophets all the time through words like divine, the vine, which is what? Classically, Dionysus, Diana Isis, Donna, Queen Donna, Lucifer's wife. And they're like, hold it, isn't Lilith Lucifer? You mean Lilith? You mean Lilith? Like Maria said, she's a rapper, motherfuckers. You don't know that? Honky please. Motherfucking honky please. Lil Lilith. Little Lilith knows what's up. And believe it, man, National Socialist German soldiers totally had a sense of humor, totally were not racist. I don't know how many times we have to say this. As much as you naturally are a racist is exactly as much as they were. You know what they thought when they met black people from Africa who came to help and fight them? Wow, interesting. Let's sit down and hear what these people are all about. That's a racist, isn't it? That's a hateful motherfucker, isn't it? I mean, like Maria said, there's always going to be the bad apples. But what are do people think there's more bad apples in Germany or Austria or Denmark or something than their own fucking hometown? And black people can be racist. Asians can be racist, but white people happen to be the evilest people against their own people. Against their own people. And that's the stupid, retarded truth that we hide from the rest of the world. Yeah, it's true that black people sold their own people, but white people did it more. White people did it on a larger scale, much larger scale. It's always been class warfare. Let me say it again. It's always been class warfare. And Maria Orsic literally doesn't accept people who are not from the working class. Like she said, either you went through this goddamn torture of trying to survive or you didn't. And if you didn't, you can't relate to us. You don't know what the fuck we are talking about. Aleister Crowley. Who wishes he could have got some of that pussy, don't you? You fat, ugly, disgusting piece of fucking trash. You're trash. And people like, you look crazy, yelling at a person that, man, dude, if you only knew. All the media people are taught witchcraft and magic, and their teacher tells them, your God is Aleister Crowley. Our religion we are Thelemites. We are Crowleyanity. We are taking over Christianity. If you know Aleister Crowley, you'll know that what I'm saying is true. Because you'll know that he grew up in this end days, rapture Christianity. It was forced down his throat, which it wasn't for me. I don't want anyone to get the wrong decision. My mom was as weak of a fucking person who could. She didn't study the Bible. She just begged me to please believe it. That's not forcing it down your throat. Aleister Crowley's father was a preacher, and it was forced down his throat that the end of the world was coming. This was his reality. I hate to have to tell you his story because they'll charge you money to tell you the real story. Big money. Just like Scientology. It's all monetized because they're fucking pricks, They're not the real Israelites, And as much as I hate the Old Testament, who knows what it really said? Who knows who Yahweh really was? Because it's like saying, who knows who I'm serious. Listen to me right now. Saying who is Yahweh is very much like saying, what did the author of Star Wars base Darth Vader on? That's the real context of the Bible. It's a book created very creatively by every means necessary. Cut and pasting from history, creating connecting passages, changing everything in the whole book for one central purpose. The day of the Lord. But doesn't say what Lord. The day of Adonai, Lord, right? And that's Adonai is a word that means male, female, right? The snake, the penis, and the yoni, Adonai, the female, and who is that person? The day of the Lord is at hand. You see, there's a there's a turning of the tables on these very magical myths, right? Aleister Crowley has created his and manifested his reality around the myths, but the real Adonai, okay, in your book of Revelation, you have basically the Messiah, the Savior, and the fake Savior, right? In reality, Aleister Crowley has created both. The good Savior himself, his true self, the bad Savior, his earthly avatar self. That's how he's spun it to make Christians absolute ridiculous clowns and zombies wandering around worshiping a guy who bragged about having sex magic with an infant and forcing his wife to do it. That's a goddamn fact. Look it up. Read the fucking books if you don't believe me. And I don't advise. This is the deepest, powerful black magic on the goddamn earth. So beware. But I'm saying to you, if you can't take my word for it, which you can, it should be just clicking in your heart, in your intuition, whatever you want to call it. It's not infallible, of course, but it should be clicking, man. Something big is wrong, and there has to be a big explanation that's missing. And the big explanation is the world. It's right in the Vedas. These are the actual, coded books of the real Lord, the real Adonai, who is what? Male, female. Is Yahweh? No, he's not. He's Father, Son, and their own spirit. No female. But Adonai is Ad, male, Onai, Oni, Adoni is female. And that Lord is Lord Shiva, the ancient giant who left his royal connected family at the risk of losing everything with his brothers and sisters and everyone that trusted him. And like he said, believe me, I was scared. And we were the real co-luminous us, Columbus, come illuminate and be us. That's what Columbus means. It's completely fucking fake, dude. They'll never tell you the real truth. No matter how much you pay. You might pay fucking $500,000 and they'll still not tell you completely what they know. But they sure in the fuck will keep charging you. And you occultist people out there, I'm reaching out to you and I'm telling you right now, fucking break the power of the people stealing your fucking money. That's all they want to do. They don't want to work. They're like, we want to do something that we love, like sit at a desk and count our money, have an office and have a building and have all this shit, but we don't do anything. But peddle these I was going to say these stupid teachings because you can get these teachings anywhere. They're just the deeper philosophical, metaphysical teachings on the laws of nature. You know, the greatest example right in front of our face is gravity. You know, why is there a metaphysical philosophy, a philosophical explanation to why if you walk off a building, you fall to the ground and die every fucking time. That's called, that like, I can hear Maria say, for one thing, that establishes what a law is in our mind. No matter what, it happens. No matter what. And like she said, let me see someone step out of that window. You know, that 1,000th story window. Let me see you step out and not fall. You know? That's what you're... Let me say something. No, let me let Maria speak. Let me tell you that people coming back from near-death experiences cannot be trusted any more than your goddamn Bible can be trusted or your neighbor can be trusted in the context of the most important thing ever. Yeah, maybe you can trust your neighbor on what's happening with the sidewalk in the neighborhood. But do you just trust your neighbor with the very most important thing the center of your life is supposed to orbit around? If he says that he believes in God and your other neighbor says, is this, just okay? Is this the cognitive dissonance that America has come to? That the very most important thing is the very biggest assumption that most people I know make. They would never make an assumption about who won the fucking World Series last year. But they're ready to make assumptions with what actually happens when you fucking die. And like she's saying, they want to juxtaposition Christianity. Our enemies, the process church, have built this fake and shallow Christianity as a straw man. You can see the analogy of how, light and weak a straw man is, so that they could come with a false opposite to destroy the false opposite they created and replace it with a new false opposite. And they strive on Crowley making the prophecy about his childhood. You see, it's not really as complicated as people make it. The central story, Crowley tries to spin his own personality as the hero, that his whole life was a crazy hero's journey to destroy Christianity. And it just happened that his story and his lust for power and his evil, the collateral damage for his own personality was, 45, 50, 60 million innocent people. And they say, well, why do you say that? Because the real decisions that were made to 9 times Adolf Hitler tried to stop World War II and say, we will go back to our borders. We'll give everything back. Go back. You can have it. Let's stop this war and stop the killing. 9 times. He didn't want anything. He didn't ask for, just like Putin today. And they continued the war. They said, no, no, no. Give us all a German. Exactly what they're saying to Iran right now is what they were saying to Germany. No, disarm, give us your whole country, give us your whole economy, give us everything, or the war continues. And Maria Orsic wants you to know the reason why that was not because drunk, pedophile, sick, ugly Churchill was making the decisions. No, he sat in that room with Aleister Crowley and Rothschild, Edmund D. Rothschild. Or whatever the one is, like she said, I don't keep track of these people. Whatever the fucking one is that founded Israel. The one that had the whole plan. The plan for Israel was created by the Messiah of Christianity, Aleister Crowley, 666, the Beast. Look it up, you fucking fools. Do you not know this? Do you not know that in your fucking theology, God created everything? So God created the Antichrist and the Christ. They're the two olive trees from Zechariah, the two messiahs in the Kabbalah. People who know about this know exactly what I'm talking about. The Christians are the fucking porch slaves, the porch idiots, the dumb idiots on the outside who got the fake version. But it's right there in the text because they love that. They love like their coded Dungeons and Dragons, you know. The two witnesses in the book of Revelation are the two messiahs, which are the two olive trees and the two pillars, the Boaz and Jabez and Boaz or whatever that the Masons worship. See, what are they really worshiping? They're worshiping the false polarity of Aleister Crowley's teachings of saying you're not complete until you experience and commit evil yourself, that you have to hold the knife and sacrifice a child, your own child preferably. Then you'll be one of us, you know? And, you know, one of the first things Maria told me, she showed me this whole thing about Crowley, Parsons, and was it L. Ron Hubbard, I think, was involved. You know, like she said, we don't even like the fact. This is just, like she said, these are facts, and who cares about the details? But they, you know, Moonchild. What's the Moonchild? Maria Orsic. She was like, listen, I warred with this fuckers for so long. I have the authority as a real opposition to tell you what I think and what I know. The Moonchild was a 16-year-old girl that they all had sex with on the same night and, you know, tried to impregnate her, each one of them. And when she did become pregnant, man, I don't even want to say it, but like she said, you have to. But, you know, people like, you don't know. This is Maria speaking. They took the actual child, premature. It was only like 6 or 7 months old, but a living, live child. Strapped it onto a nuclear bomb. Flew, a mile up in the sky and dropped a bomb in the Nevada desert. And that's what initiated Las Vegas into New Egypt, a completely inverted, open display of occult magic that everything's money. Everything's money. Capitalism is moneyism, which is the worship of the monkey, the animal part of man. You know what I mean? It's the stupidest fucking... It's Aleister Crowley's curse on America that you are actual monkeys. That's why you have to be herded together and fucking treated the way you are, because that's how dumb you fucking Irish people are. You know Aleister Crowley was English and hated Irish people. totally thought that he was a real racist, especially against Irish people. And when he came to America, he toured the Masonic temples. Because why? He was preaching a total English supremacist line, like the line he was actually saying. He was the one. Let me say, Maria is putting her name on this. Aleister Crowley developed and invented British Israelitism. And he came to America and said, all of you with British blood, be activated in the Armageddon apocalypse end of times. He's the one that got everyone believing in this. He's the one that created the reality right now, that the war on terror, which is what? No more than the war on Muslims, who didn't do anything to the people who are warring with them. It's just right in your face that, they didn't even have the technology, they didn't have any of this. And it really, anyone who knows that it goes, the small group, the small cabal, the small occult circle that actually is the shot callers in the world, the people that Trump answers to, the people who hired Trump, the people who didn't even hire him. They forced him. They said, you know what, you're going to be the president. Get out there and you do what we say, motherfucker. Don't believe anything you see. Those assassinations were completely fake. Everyone knows that. It's so Hollywood. It's right in our faces. And on and on and on and on and on. The aim of my time is to fill up my mind. And when it gets too full, I forget. Seeing things clearly. Thank you so dearly. Everything's so true to life when you're not living. And when it's all a drag, that's when you give it all away. You put it all in bags. It's going to charity. Because you just can't go back. You just can't go back. Everyone's going their own way. This world's gonna make you stay. It's more than amusement now. They're just killing time. You just can't go back, right? But actually, you have to turn back time, not to reminisce, but to figure out what the fuck happened and brought you right here, right? And one of our central core messages that we're going to be explaining in future talks is that black magic witchcraft works the same way. This is Maria's analogy. On the astral plane, it's like someone controlling the weather. And when it first starts raining on your property around your house where you live every day, you're like, I can handle the rain. And after 3 days of nonstop rain, you're like, I don't know. And after a week of rain, and now you're panicking because your basement's leaking. And shit, you're like, hey, fuck everyone that don't believe when you have actual facts that someone's controlling the weather and making it rain where I live. On the thought plane, if people concentrate on you with bad thoughts, no matter how fucking powerful you are, no matter how strong your house is and shit, after a month of nonstop rain, you're like, fuck this, take the fucking house, get me out of this world, I hate this, fuck these people, they're gross, they're evil, they're cheaters, they're thieves, and they stick together like motherfuckers. They love each other. You know, we can't even understand that. How these motherfuckers love each other is mind-boggling, you know. Like a lot of people in the Process Church, they were loyal to each other to the very end. And it's millions of years later, and like she said, they're like us in their unity and their love for each other. But she's like, but they're so fucking gross. They're so opposite. They're so gross. Like everything you do is hokey. It's Hollywood. It's commercial. It's you know, it's there's no heart. There's no art. And I didn't mean that, but you see those he art, you see that? What's it really about? You know? Is it? I mean, we're going to keep saying this, but here's our foundation. You're eternal. The purpose of the avatar is to enjoy the art of the true self. Try to enjoy your life, even though it's could be hard, horrible, nightmarish, but try to enjoy the revelations, the learning. Like if you're learning, you're learning. And if you're our people, you're like, well, that's what it costs. That's what it costs. How the fuck can you question that? You can't say, well, all right, too. I wish I didn't know that. No, you already paid for it. But like Maria said, we don't accept money. We only accept heart energy. We only accept the true thank you. Like she said in the very beginning. She said to me in the very beginning, I do something for you. And she was standing on the rocks of the like raging Missouri River that's so big by my house, which is really half of the Missouri River. It splits in half. Like she said, like an energy vortex. And it's crazy. And then it meets the Missouri River right before it meets the Mississippi River. Splits, and there's like a crazy island there. Small, but lots of trees. I've never been there, and I want to, like Maria said, you should go over there and do a little ritual. Wild. The whole Missouri River is wild. But also, Maria liked me to tell this little story. Let me light this. And I hope I could give the supernatural context for this. You know, for you to see how Maria works in reality, in the Matrix reality. Well, you know, I actually have to say, for the sake of this, like, I was speaking about the group rituals, and why I'm saying all this is because the curses and, like, bad things, the evil, I guess you could say punishment that was, spoken upon me and everyone at the group ritual for disgracing and dishonoring their, beloved God, Genesis Peorge. And people, please, man, really, if you do understand this, you will start to understand these people who are the ones who control Trump. Who knows? They might control Putin even, How do we know? How do we know? All we know is who, on the face of it, who invaded who, and clearly, let me make this clear: America is the bad guy in every war. Every war, even when they join a war like Vietnam to be on the what looks like the good, at least looks like the good people's side, who's trying to just live free, like live like they were living, and you had these communists coming in and by force changing things. You would think we were the good guys, right? No, of course we were helping the communists. We gave them their fucking tanks and their shit because you know what? The whole time it's been people like Trump that's been running the management section. And you know what they were like? Hey, commies, in the 50s, they're like, hey, commies, look at these new tanks we made. Look at these new vehicles we made, these new this and that and this and that. And they're like, yeah, we like that. Let's cut a deal. Let's make a deal. We'll actually put up a factory over there and build these for you at a certain price. But you got to agree to Manly P. Hall's Secret Destiny of America and let us help you oppress your people. Bottom line. You know what I mean? I mean, how evil is that? And let's go from that meta evil, to a little bit of everyday magic of Maria Orsic and little Queen Sita, our sweet sister. I was having it's hard for me to put this in context without sound like I'm complaining. But let's just say, this whole thing that I'm talking about is real. I mean, there's quite a strange vibration around my house and around around the environment that I'm around, And like Maria said, we try not to take it personal, but everything is respect and recognition. So there's, the people I live with don't, especially the closest people, don't really, I can't even comment really whether they know what I'm doing, believe what I'm doing or not. It's a strange magic going on. But, in many rituals, I was shown by my true self, best thing for me is to listen to the people I live with. Tell me that they don't want to really hear anything about this. And, this is really all I do right now. So I, like my true self said, then just don't speak, And I thought of Ezra Pound and Nietzsche, how they just stopped speaking because, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is no one's listening. And I like how Serrano added, but also they're outside of their body, so it's like a labor to speak because they're like, man, these people don't want me here even, so I'll just move on out on the astral plane. We have the power to do that, especially in emergency situations that, call for that. Life can be tormenting. I know that energy. That's why my friend killed himself. Because he's tormented by reality, by, the vibration of it. And, a lot of people say, the Bible, taking the Bible serious made him depressed. All that's true, but on a deeper level, it was just like the vibration of the world. He said it to me. I'm allergic to the world. I have a bad reaction to the world. I feel the same way about myself. But I have Maria, and a mission, like a job to do, which helps me a whole lot. Like I would have never. Let me actually speak instead of mumble. I don't. There's no way. To me, it just seems like there's no way I would be here if the Missouri River goddess didn't meet me that night, which was really the morning of my birthday. And she said, "I'm the reason you moved here." And I was like, huh? And I seen moved twice. First time like a half a mile from the Missouri River and a park, that we would go to all the time when we lived there. And that you could, a 1 minute walk to the river at this sunset park. And like she said, it was a miracle, but my wife's mother and father bought a house at the top of the street on the actual bluff overlooking the Missouri River. And they're like, this is like our retirement home. Beautiful view of the Missouri River. And one day they were like, hey, house a few houses down from ours is up for sale. It's like a foreclosure. You guys should buy it. And it wasn't on the bluffs, but across the street. So then we moved like like maybe 500 yards from the river, And, we started spending, like, just naturally, what we would do is when we smoked, we would walk by the river. This is before, while I was still a Christian, before all of this happened. And she was showing me that night, like, I am doing this through magic. I am the river. She's like, my magic is the flow, the invisible flow of the river. She's like, I take that power of nature and I manipulate it to help my children. I'm the one that put it in your mind. I'm the one that spoke to you when you would come out to the river, not God. She was like, I'm here to tell you, God doesn't exist. Your true self is God over yourself. And I was like, what? Never heard that. and so all these years she's been doing things, I guess is my point. And I felt like I really shouldn't talk anymore. But this really happened. I was and I was just trying to be at peace and stay healthy to keep working. It's not like I was angry or mad or anything. It's just like I'm trying to stay healthy. It's hard to stay balanced, for me. Maybe I'm a pussy, I don't know. But it is. And my main thing, this was just last summer, was, to stay focused on doing the podcast, which is kind of like the preliminary for the books. And, to keep thinking about the first book, which is almost done. But I think it can be much, much better and deeper if I would put more work into it. Instead of just briefly telling the story of, basically my 15, when I was 15 and 16, the book covers. But my whole point was I was trying to stay focused on that and not, in any way be negative or fight with anybody that I lived with or anyone, my wife, anything. Just trying to stay, keeping the 4 agreements. Like Maria said, I follow Maria's rules. Like the first group ritual, she said, tell them, that I'm saying this. The first thing is you all have to concentrate on keeping the 4 agreements. She's big on that. Make no assumptions, be precise with your words. Don't fantasize shit and think it's real. Fantasize all you want, but don't think it's real. Get verification. Know the difference. Know the difference between, do the ritual and you'll know the difference. I'm giving all this background, trying to give you why this was so powerful. So it was, again, I don't even know if I clicked on this video for sure. I may have, but it might have just, like a YouTube thing just kicked on. And me and my wife had been talking a few days earlier about when we were young and like the first time we smoked and stuff. And the neighborhood kids and how all the neighborhood kids hung out. And I see Theo Von tell this funny story about like some of the first times he ever smoked. And he said he was 9 years old, 9 or 10 years old. He was like, I was a kid. He was like, I didn't have the language right. He was like, I was trying to be like the bigger kids, like talk like them. He said, so when it got real little, he said, like a roach. He said, I was 9 years old. I was like, does anyone want to hit this stash? He's like, I got it mixed up, with roach. He was like, stash and roach. I'm 9 years old. He's like all the like 11 and 12-year-old kids started laughing and going, you stupid. You don't know what you're saying. You're high, And he was like, he was like, I was so young. He was like, I didn't even know if I was high. He was like, I was just like, damn, said the wrong word. And I swear to gods, I had this crazy, I was like, oh my God, I got to tell my wife that. And I went to tell her and I thought, man, what about, just don't even open your mouth. Just don't. And I know this sounds terribly negative, but believe me, when you have black magic being done against you, it's so easy to become negative. This is why I have to, that's why I concentrate so long on just not saying anything instead of being negative, because I know that it's me that's in a bad. But if you understood the total context, when you're the only one doing the ritual and people around you are like, "Why? Who cares what you do?" And like me sitting here watching TV is just as important as you writing that book. See, not in my world, but Maria said, "You're not here to tell people what to do." So don't get mad because that's the black magic trying to suck you in. Just let it be. Like, just don't. Control yourself by just staying meditative and don't say anything, Because I've heard so many times, not because people don't like me necessarily, but they don't like dealing with big, deep things in their mind. So like I've had my wife say, I can't deal with this. I can't listen to what Maria teaches right now and all this because it's just too much. It's too like some people have a lighter personality or like it's the wrong vibration at this time, you know? And it's hurtful if that's your total commitment, your total focus of like, then why the fuck, what the fuck am I doing this for? And like Maria's like, for me. So quit blaming her. But anyway, I was going through all of this for real. And it was crazy, but like since 5/5 and since meeting this sister that Maria, had been talking about a lot by now, like showing me memories. And, I don't expect anyone to take anyone else's subjective memories at this point. They're subjective, right? But of course, you can't expect anyone to take them literally. And I didn't in any way. But I was also trying to tell her like how thankful I was that she unexplainably helped me, just in the most Maria-ish ways. I can't really explain. Like people are you really that weak? Like I can't explain it. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I just know what I'm experiencing, and like it's scary for me to think about. But I was at a very like low point because Maria's cat, that was really the closest person to me was that cat, because she's the sweetest being ever. And she just died to me, a horrible death. It was just a terrible struggle. Like I literally worked 70 something hours a week for 3 weeks while she was dying. And like Maria was like, Joe, I had it, and I don't want to, I don't really want to accept the predestination and control of reality that really is over. But obviously, like she said, you're powerful enough. I could have done something. You didn't have to work. I mean, I did, but I didn't in one way, And I just was a wreck. Like I let her down, I couldn't do anything about it. Like so many mistakes were made in her care because I wasn't there, and I can't expect someone else to be like supernatural about things and be me, it just, it was like Maria said, Joe, it's your story. Like, you're here with me. Like, I just feel like only Maria really knew what I was going through, like with that cat. And anyway, I mean, that is what kind of set the hopeless, not in this world, hopelessness in this world, because we also lost a crucial battle for America. I mean, America, like Maria said, is the rights of man, the rights of the individual against the state, against the powerful state. And she was like, as fake as it may have been since World War II, I mean, to officially lose it is a big fucking deal. And I felt it. I felt it. That was 2024. So it was like 2 weeks later, 5/5, and America died. I felt like, without being dramatic, really felt like I was dying. Like, I don't want to go into how I was feeling. I just felt so fucking shitty every fucking day. Like, only thing I could do was make it through work, and just sleep. And I would take like 3-4 showers a day, because like hot showers were like vibrationally, like one of the only things that vibrationally helped me. What's crazy is that I know it's treated water, but the water does come from the Missouri River where I live, which I like. I like that. I feel like that's part of the reason why it showers. Anyone out there does this ritual, if you really have a, emotional, dramatic moment on, in the ritual on the mushrooms, it's good to break that moment by taking a shower and getting back to the water goddess, which is, let her dilute the emotions. Like, it's too powerful, man, for real people, What's going on? Like Maria said, do you feel it? People are changed by the matrix, and you fear it. Like she said, it goes back to the fear of being boring. Like she said, that's not something you choose. It's an instinct because of a person, or people, because of the observer. You're like, why don't you want to be boring? Because I care about the observer. You're like, and like she said, what is individualism? You choosing who observes you. That's real individualism. And one time she told me, I think it's best for you to do some sex magic right now. And I was like, really? And I was like, in front of you? And she's like, you would, urinate in front of me? She said, do you think I'm saying this for any other reason than I look at your energy? You need this. Your energy, your physical, mental, spiritual body needs it. No matter, she's like, think about whatever you want. She's like, you could even think about me if you want. She's like, you're free. She's just like, but you need to do that, and you need to be comfortable enough to just let me, dance over here while you do your thing, She's like, let me know when you're done. And she trained me, like, Joe, if you really are one with someone, you will become like so comfortable like me and you are. And she's a very sweet, funny, playful lady. So nice. And I know, people think you're fucking crazy, but I talk to people all the time. They're like, dude, I know my relatives are alive. I know my dad's alive. Like most people have very close relationships with their parents. Like I'm strangely, very close to my best friend. Like he knew me best, not my parents. Clearly, I mean, by leaps, and my mother knew me, as a child, which makes, really, really means something to me. That still is, like my friend said, like when you're hurt and you need your mom, you find out who she is. You find out like she is. There is, whether she's the masses, whatever she is, but there was like a warm love that cared about me, that truly cared about, you know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, sorry. Sita. So anyway, Theo Von, right, in this video, and that I thought was so funny. And I was like, I should go tell my wife, and I stopped, and I was like, maybe I should keep my mouth shut, and just stay away from everyone and just keep my whole energy field away from people, because I really seem to bother people besides Maria. And I'm not trying, in any way. I'm not trying to And I'm not trying to conjure that up or make someone a bad guy, because I have Maria saying it is not her fault. Don't blame her. If anything, you wouldn't be here without her. Thank her. And she's like, thank her that you suffer, because look what it's producing. And she tells me, look me in the eye, Joe. There's no other way. Just know that it's a cycle. And it will all turn, especially when you die. I'm like, all right. She's like, let's just go on. We're one. No matter what you think or feel with anyone else, we're one. And it was weird. I thought about 5-5, and I thought about what Lou said about my wife, that everything I seen was completely true. It was she was completely ordained by the gods in the ceremony I seen. Where I seen her because she entered a simulation with her best friend Mindy in like the 1800s. And I don't know if I even told Mindy this. Clearly, I was like, who is that? They were like, can you see this? The same way. Like an invisible screen. Like, can you see this? And I was like, oh my God, that's Joey. And I was like, why is she dressed like, what is she at Six Flags, dressed like the pioneers? You know, and they're like, no, that's her ancestor. And I went, I said, it looks exactly like her. And they were like, just like yours did, remember? And I was like, right. And they were like, do you see this? And I was like, oh my God, she lived. And they were like, in a simulation. Her ancestor's life. In the 1800s, you know, they switched bodies because gods were training your two wives to come to the Matrix, but only if you had the power to see what was to be and what would be, and that's how it's ordained. You see that? You see what I was being tested on? I did. This was before we came to the Matrix. I had to see my wives' lives. I had to see what had already happened in the eternal return, you know, because everything's happened. So if you can see that when asked, when, like I said, but Lou, you were helping me, and he was like, so what? I wanted to help you. And he told me, and I thought about that, and I thought about how they told me, I know you feel like a failure, you know, and you are correct to feel like that from her. But we're giving you Jah in me. Jah in May. And I was like, what? And they were like, it's May. You remember? Maria said, remember I said May the 4th really was with you? I went, huh? I mean, I did not know what they were talking about, dude. It was like they were playing a game with me. I was like, what did you say? Jah in May. And Lou was like, that's me. I went, hold it. And Maria said, you know, the girl that you're going to talk to. And she went, Jah, and Lou went, me. And I went, Jamie. They went, yeah. And Maria said, you remember all those times you asked me, could you show me one more person that I knew before I came here? She said, I would laugh, and laugh hard, wouldn't I? And I would even say to you, I know who you're talking about, and you don't. She said, that's her. I went, no way, shut up. I had never talked to this person. For real. I was, for real, it was like I was like a kid or something. Like, no, you can't be doing this, because it was such a polarity thing. I felt like I was dying, and they're like, no, no, you know, her energy, her, and like Maria was like, Joe, you, let me just officially say it to you, before you talk to her, you knew her before you came here. I said, what? That's wild. and all I knew is that she lived in St. Louis, which I was like, man, that's so crazy, because I was, and I'm thinking this. Said to Maria on 5-5, I said, man, that's so crazy, because you kept saying to me, I have a few people in St. Louis, if anywhere, here. This is the most magical place ever. And I kept like, this was years. I kept waiting, like, what? Okay. And like she said, it's funny, Joe, but it's 13 years later. It was 2011 when I kept saying to her, no, you showed me this person. You showed me Deanna. You showed me Jane. You showed me Mindy. You showed me my wife, how we all knew each other before. I said, forgive me and I would always be like, I'll do something for you. I mean, just fucking ask me. I'll do whatever you want. And like, she did ask me to do some things because the person deserved them. But for real, I couldn't help. I told her, like the fifth time it happened, I told her, Missouri River guys, I'm not doing this on purpose. I was like, Goddess, I swear, I'm sorry. It's just the first thing that came to my mind. And she laughed and was like, I know, I'm not mad. And so after saying like 5 rituals in a row, she would say, my son, ask me anything you want to know. I'd say, can you show me somebody I knew before I came here? Like the 5th time, I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm stuck on that. So the next week, I consciously changed it to, can you give me a memory of before I came here? Just, any memory back on Venus. And I swear to you, she waited years, like 4 or 5 years. And one ritual, and this is going to sound weird or funny to people, but like teenage kids making out in their clothes, like fully clothed. I was fully clothed and had this little woman like sitting on my lap, like is that called straddling? Like, sitting on me, like face to face with him. We were just hugging each other so closely and kissing each other, and just like teenagers, like just rubbing on each other. Like, it was funny to me, and I was laughing like, what is going on? And then I knew she was Maria. And I was like, Maria, what is this? And she's like, this is the memory you have always asked for. This happened before you came here the most. She said, if I know you, this is... It's so funny that she would say this, but true. True, so true, though. When you know the context back home, you know how true this is. She said, you asked for a memory. She said, as deep as I could reach in my own mind, in my own meditation of me and as your mother and knowing you. And I think that this was the most prevalent, most powerful thing that's ever happened to you. And it was funny because it was like 2 teenage, kids making out in their clothes. For real. and just like kissing each other for so long, like, and this went on for quite a while in my mushroom ritual. I'm laying in the bed just seeing this and not even feeling it, not feeling like excited from it, just observing like that is so crazy that's me, because I couldn't really see myself because the girl had all this hair, all this blonde hair, and we were kissing the whole time. Every time I would be the observer, like seeing us, I couldn't see her face very well. And when I did see her face, I kind of thought, damn, she looks like Maria. And I did not know who it was, ever. And I asked Maria, and she was like, you'll find out. You'll know. You'll remember soon enough. She said, I'll ask you again. Ask me anything. I said, give me another memory. Ask me for anything. I said, how about another memory? But anyway, in this, and why it was most prevalent memory was this, and I didn't understand this at all when it was shown to me in like 2015, 2016. I don't even remember. It was in those middle years after I asked. And what was crazy is I was like the observer, seeing these, and like she said, you are 30 years old, but your mentality is like a teenager because you're experiencing these things for the very first time. And like Maria said, later she told me, you were definitely doing something against the rules. You were not supposed, we were taught not to do this, like to, imitate earthling sex, because we don't have sex organs, so that, it's like, what are you, crazy? But like she said, you and your sister have always been different. This is later, but what's crazy? Okay, this is why this was the most prevalent memory ever in the history of my memory, because as the observer, I started to like Maria. I'm looking, and it was all kind of funny to me, like seeing like a movie, like a spring break movie of like two, teenagers like that finally get to make out, that, boyfriend, girlfriend, that finally get to be alone and make out. I mean, it was that sweet and innocent. It was so fucking innocent. It was almost making me emotional, like seeing how innocent we both were, of like how much a kiss meant. Like, man, I went through the energy of like, oh my God, the energy that is released from like a real kiss of like, I love you kiss, was so moving to me. And it just made me be like, who is this girl? Who is this girl? Like, I started to really be like, and I went to Maria, like, hold it, Maria. The whole memory, well, who is this girl? And she's like, she's like, just relax and you'll remember. Right? And I like went right back to it, and I was like, there we are. We were like sitting like on a bench, like it almost seemed like in a, I don't want to say a bit, it didn't seem like a bedroom. It seemed like a locker room almost, or something, but not like something private, but not a bedroom. It was like, and I thought, did this like just spontaneously happen, And that's when I started to be like, oh, this is so sweet that these two love each other. That I'm thinking, and I'm forgetting that it's even me. And then I go, as Maria's like, just relax and just watch. It's so sweet, she was saying. And as I relaxed, I like went into my body, and it was like the craziest energy of like, I love you, of like, like I said, like two teenagers that loved each other. It was just a very happy, and while I was in my body, and it was crazy. It was like me and her telepathically connected, like in the memory. I was in my body. I started to live what we were actually living. And she was saying to me, like, this, we're doing what earthlings do. I don't want to wait. I don't want to go to that place. I want it now. I want to be one with you now. And when she was saying this, it was crazy because it was like giving me like a vision. Like Maria said, was like some of the first supernatural things that were ever happening to me. And I was saying to her, like, keep doing what you're doing. Like, at first I was like, what are we doing? Are we sure we want to do this? Like break the rules, and then I was like, no, I know I'm going to break the rules one day. And only with you would I ever do this. That's why I did it. It's like Adam and Eve. I mean, it really is. And I was like, because it's you. And it's so crazy because Maria later told me she's the only one that she's the only one that could make you become lukewarm in all the worlds. In all the worlds. Because, like she said, this is your real best friend. This is what eternal true love is. And it was crazy because it was like we were experiencing what Maria was teaching us for the first time. And I was like, hold it. This is what happiness is. Like, hold it. I know that it is the balance to enjoy your true self. I was like, but maybe it's possible I can enjoy your true self and you can enjoy my true self. And me and her were telepathically communicating this while we were like humping each other. It's so funny, like kids. But I mean, not in a gross way. It was very sweet. And she was saying, we're one. We're one. We're already that. We're already that. And like she said it a few times, and the last time she said it, when that came off her mouth, me and her were in a completely different reality. Like an all-white nirvana reality, but it was a place. It had a floor. And she was dressed in the most beautiful sunflower dress that had big, like, embroidered sunflowers on it, like all over the dress. And it was like a loose, summery dress, and it had pockets in the front. And she had, this was like when we just popped up, we were already doing this. It was like it was in motion already. It was another reality that was already going on. And she was like dancing with her hands in her pockets, like dancing with the pockets like back and forth. And I started doing it with her. I was like, I like that. I was like, oh my God, do you know what we did, where we are? I grabbed her. I go, this must be it. And she was like, I know. You don't have to tell me. She was like, Joe, we're one. I know. She was like, this is the eternal orgasm. And she was like, see, I told you we are earthlings. Because I tell you where we come from when we look at Maria, and she's like a legend, because she lived on the first time earth. And we want to be like that. We want to be authentic like that. Like, dude, I lived through the shit, and we don't. That's why we come through to the simulation. Like she said, like Maria said, dude, it could have been, 3,241 BC that you were born. She said, the reason I know you, Joe, is because I was born in 1895 and you were born in 1969. For real. And the world ended in 1948, and from 48 till the end of the world, which is arbitrary. Sometimes the simulation ends before 69. Many times it did. But now, as it evolved, it goes longer and longer. And I knew one day you're going to go. And I knew you could die. I knew but also knew you had the psychic power to stay alive, the heart, right? And the Scorpio wisdom. And she was like, I really always, from before you became a physical person, believed you were the artist to translate, to co-author the book with me. She said, because that's how I want it to be me and you doing art together. And I was like, yes, we're going to do it. And so anyway, no lie. This is no lie. Back to Theo Von in the video. That was a long background, but very real. I thought about everything that happened and what Lou said about my wife and that I wouldn't be here. And this is not about, it's, loving your sister or things that happened before here. They're all going to be integrated. That's no disrespect. It's not disrespect. And like she said, that's what you're balancing in the Matrix is when you come home, that you were authentic, respect, or none. You were authentic because there's nothing else to be before authentic people. And like she said, no matter what she is, you're required to be authentic. And I literally thought about how I felt like I was going to die. And just because this new shift, like right before I spoke to this sister, all of reality shifted like only ever did in the ritual. It was like an earthquake, just like one shock of an earthquake, like doom. And it's like it was out of place, like a bone out of place in your spine, and it was snapped back into alignment. And I didn't know it was out of alignment. And I thought about that. I thought, man, dude, I can't do this. So I went and told my wife, about the Theo Von thing, and she liked it. But I still felt like she's like, I don't know. But I was very happy that she did like, the story. She did laugh, and I felt, better that I did what what she deserved and what I should do, but no matter how I feel. What is right is right. And I wouldn't be here without her. I wouldn't be speaking to you without her. Maybe I'm not that great of a person. I needed some restraint in a way that she provided in a sort of strange mystical way. But anyway, this is no lie. I told my wife about Theo Von. In the morning, I turned my phone on. Okay, the next morning, so I told my wife, like I said, it leveled the vibe in the house, and I felt a lot better. I think, I don't even know how she feels, or if she feels like, this sensitive towards energy. She don't seem to be as sensitive, and like Maria said, that's real. That some people aren't. I feel too sensitive. And like Maria said, it's real. People are too sensitive to energy, and that's why you need constant balance, and you need a teacher like me to help you. No lie, I was happy. Swear to the goddesses, swear to gods. In the morning, I turned my phone on. So that meant from 1 in the morning to 7 or 8 when I turned my phone on. From that time, I turned my phone on and I had received a message from Sister Sita, and I don't know if it said anything, but it was a video of Theo Von talking about drinking coffee, which my wife really, really loves. She's a big, big coffee girl. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. Damn, that's psychic. What are the odds? I would have a spiritual struggle about everything that has to do with this, involving Theo Von. And the next morning, without talking to her, without texting her, without saying a fucking word, she sent me a Theo Von video. That was funny. Very funny. Just like the other one. And which was even wilder because it connected back, which is wild, to right before I started doing the ritual. I was on vacation seeing a band play in Virginia, going to Virginia Beach to the ocean. And I was on mushrooms after being at the ocean all night and staying up late. And that's when I found Theo Von in like 2011, definitely 2011. And it was a story about doing mushrooms. That's how I found him. I think I put in like comedian, story about mushrooms or something. And that's how I found out about Theo Von. And it was a weird kind of boom, boom, boom connection. And Theo Von, he should have me on. For real though, our people, we should contact Theo Von's people and say, hey, you really want to have someone with a different opinion about the Bible, about Bible prophecy, and how it's already been fulfilled, and they're just reenacting it Hollywood style. Plain and simple, that's the real truth. And believe me, brothers and sisters, we love you. We amor you. We love you without death, without end, because we, in Mother Mary's name, in Mother Siggy's name, in Father Avatar Adi, Allah Lu Danaja Shija's name, we so love you.
In the shadows of the night, quest, guiding those who seek the best. Maria whisper words of grace, open doors to time and space. With the knowledge that you bring, we'll escape on hopeful wings. In the silence, the truth will stay. Maria leads the way today.